Welcome to Backstage 421, the musicians only podcast, with your host, author, and music lover, Charles Campbell. Charles will have an awesome array of guests from many genres of music, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. By the way, Ray Mattis is the composer of this awesome intro music.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Backstage 421, the Musicians Only podcast. I am your host, small town horror author and music lover, Charles Campbell, and today I have a very special guest. He was actually referred to me by another guest I had on a few weeks back, Mr. Doug Worin. Shout out to Doug. But this gentleman has amassed quite a following in a relatively short period of time. He's got 1.4 million TikTok followers. He's got 12 million streams on Spotify and Apple Music, and he's got 150,000 monthly Spotify listeners, maybe more than that by now. But thank you for coming on the show, Mr. Kaleb Austin.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Oh man, I'm excited to have you on. I've gone back and I've listened to some of your catalog, and I got a few questions for you, and we could just go back and forth a little bit. But first thing I want to do is for my listening audience, give us a little bit about a background about yourself, how you maybe got into the music business, and what inspired you to get into music.
Yeah, so I grew up. My whole family was into music, mostly on my mom's side, and so I pretty much just went to like family parties, and we would all just kind of pass around a guitar and sing songs and stuff like that growing up. I was kind of a shy kid, and so I didn't really sing a whole lot until I was about maybe 14.
Yeah,
Um, a couple of my closest cousins um, were kind of the ones that made me start singing a little bit with them, and then I fell in love with this. Picked up started to learn guitar and just fell in love with music. And so ever since I was 14, I kind of had a love for it. Wanted to do it, and then as I got older, just did competitions and started to write music and things, and then yeah, just kind of went from there. Moved to Nashville for a little while, and my songs got a little bit better over
yeah.
time. And so, and then I moved back from Nashville for family reasons, and then pretty much ended up getting out of the music industry for a few years. Didn't know how I was going to get back into it, and then my wife started posting on social media, and everything took off again for me. So,
Yeah, I was going to bring that up because it's a very unique. Well, for me, I'm an old guy, so I don't do TikTok. My daughter and my wife, they do that stuff, and as savvy as I am, I'm Instagram. That's about it. I'm gonna have to get into that TikTok stuff. But I've seen some of the videos. You started off. Your wife started just filming you, and you're singing to your little girl, which it touches my heart because I used to have a little girl a long time ago. She's not so little anymore. She may be as old as you are. She's 28 now,
oh
but
wow,
yeah, time flies, man. Enjoy every second because I
good.
love being a girl dad, and it was awesome. So you got a lot to look forward to. But yeah, tell me how that came about. I'm so interested in that. I mean, did she just pick up her phone one day and say, catch you in the moment singing, and then it kind of snowballed from there? Is that how
Pretty
it happened?
Yeah, pretty much. I wasn't, so we both had our own social media pages, but she was doing her own thing with hers. Like she was trying to do like lip syncing stuff. We weren't
Right.
really into it. My sister, my older sister has done a lot of social media stuff, and she kept telling us to do social media. And we're both like, I don't know, man, it just isn't our style. So finally, after a while, she just ran up to me one day. I was in the fridge or something, and she said, "Hey, sing some Jason Aldean," and I did that, and that would kind of saw some traction. And then the very next day, she did it again. I was in the backyard with my little baby daughter, who was bald at the time, just
Yeah.
sitting in the backyard, just chilling. And she asked me to sing. I don't know, I can't remember. I think it was a Brooks and Dunn song, and I messed it up and I started laughing and everything. But anyway, it was authentic, and she posted that, and that was our first video that went fairly viral for us, and almost 1 million views. And so it was, we just kept rolling with that. And over time, we realized that we started to go live on TikTok.
Yeah.
Uh, 3 nights a week, we would go live Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, and I would sing requests of any genre. Didn't matter what it was. I'd learn the song on the fly and do my best with it, and people would donate to have me do that, and that helped
Nice.
me get back to Nashville to get my first few songs recorded,
Right.
and uh, and so that's kind of how it started out, and we just kept running with it. And in fact, I'm actually in the process of writing a couple of new songs right now to go and record in Nashville here in a few weeks. So,
Well, that's amazing, man. And I'm always interested in writers. I am a small town horror author, by the way.
oh,
And
nice.
I always, whenever I get musicians on, especially lyricists that write their own music, I always want to know their process. So, kind of take me through your process when you're putting together a song, and how you come up with lyrics and what drives you to put them to paper.
So it's pretty much. I mean, it varies.
Yeah.
It inspiration can come from anywhere, and most of the time, it'll come from like just when I'm out and about. Or I'll have to record it into my phone
Yeah.
um, in the moment, no matter where I'm at. Just get the idea down, and then when I go and I'll sort of log those ideas away for months. And then when it comes time for me to start getting ready to go back into the studio, I kind of go through all those ideas and then try to sort of flesh it out. I'll put some chords to it, and then sort of sometimes I write towards a hook that I've got.
Right.
Other times I can just pick up the guitar and I'll say, "Oh, this sounds cool." I'll sort of just start writing and see what comes out based upon what I feel. Uh, so it's kind of varies, but that's kind of the two directions. Normally, I'll fiddle with the guitar and then sort of write that way, or I write towards like a hook of some kind that I came up with just recording into my phone.
Right.
And
Yeah, it's a very similar process. I mean, a few weeks ago, I was on vacation. My wife was sitting on the beach. I was in the middle of writing a book, which I'm trying to finish now. Idea came to my head. I had to pick up my phone and just say what it is because I'm old, man. When I get back to the room, I'm going to forget. I'm going to forget
oh,
what
dude,
I.
oh, dude, it doesn't have. I think. I mean, it's happened to me for years. I've had times when I woke up in the middle of the night or had an idea, and I'm like, oh, I'll get it down in the morning. I didn't want to get up or whatever and do
Yeah,
it. And then by the time morning rolls around, the idea is gone, and I'm like,
it went
oh,
away. Well, I want to get into your songs a little bit. Like I said, I've been listening to them for the past few days, prepping for the podcast. Definitely a new fan. You got a new fan in me for sure.
I don't
And
think.
yeah, you're awesome, dude. And I grew up in a small town, and my grandmother, she listened. She was hardcore country fan. Yeah, this was back in the '70s and '80s, and I stayed with her a lot. And she listened to Porter Wagner and Conway Twitty, the old CB, the old CB 8 tracks that they sold on TV.
Yeah.
And your voice kind of takes me back to that time. Maybe not necessarily all the music around it, but the voice that you
Mhm.
have really takes me back to that time, and it made me smile when I was listening to your stuff. So I want to talk about some of this stuff. One of my favorite songs off the bat, and it has a little comedy in it for the audience, but I love Just Add Beer. Tell me about that song.
Yeah. So I was back. It was back when I lived in Nashville. A friend of mine, Heath Deloach, and I were just kind of sitting around in a writer's room. I think we were at NSAI or something there in a writer's room. We just kind of kicking around ideas, and he had the idea of Just Add Beer. I'm like, dude, let's flesh that one out and see where it goes, and it just became this goofy beer drinking song that honestly I didn't intend to ever record it.
It's
Uh,
awesome, man.
so it wasn't until like 6 months ago, one of our friends and my wife, I was looking for songs to record, and they're like, just do this one. It's a fun song. See how it turns out. And you know, it's a good song, and everybody loves it. It translates live very well.
Oh, it sounds like it would. Yeah, I shared it. I have a day job. I don't support myself writing books, but I shared it with my coworkers over the last couple days, and they were like, "Oh, I love this. This is hilarious." And I was like, "Yeah, just add beer." So if you haven't listened to it, audience, go listen to "Just Add Beer" by Kaleb Austin. You'll thank me later. Love it. Great song.
Thanks, man. Thank you. Yeah, it was a fun one to write. We were just goofing off, just one of those writing sessions. I remember just pretty much just laughing. I
Yeah.
figured like Toby Keith when he wrote Red Solo Cup, it was probably a
Yeah.
similar writing session. It was
Oh,
just
yeah. It's a
just
fun song,
goofy
man.
thing.
And I've got a really good buddy. He runs a farm, and but he's also a writer. He writes a small town young adult horror, and man, he loves all kinds of beer. I mean, he doesn't have a problem with beer, but he loves. He's a beer aficionado. So I sent him that. I said, Caleb wrote a song for you, and I tagged him, and he was like, "Oh, this is awesome." So, but
That's
anyway, I digress. There's another song I want to talk to you about because I know it's near and dear to your heart. And when I listened to it, it kind of, brought a tear to my eye a little bit. And it's about your lovely wife, Cheyenne. Tell me about how that song came about because it's a beautiful song and it really, kind of shows your appreciation for her.
Well, thanks. Yeah, I when I was writing songs for my first, I didn't know at the time, but it ended up being my first album. I didn't know that it would end up being a full album. When I
Right,
was writing, I just was kind of writing song by song and hoping that I could keep going at the time. But the reason that I got back into doing music in the first place was because of her, and so I wouldn't be doing music really at all, especially at this capacity or with this following without her. So I wanted to write a song for her, but she didn't know I was
oh,
writing one for
nice.
her, and so I was downstairs just plunking away at it, and I had gotten about halfway through it, first verse and chorus, and then I came up to her and I'm like, "Hey, tell me what you think about this song." And I didn't know that at the time she was having a really bad day. She was
Right,
having
right.
a rough day, and so her face was kind of like she kind of looked like she didn't like it at first. And then by the
Yeah,
time I got finished, there were tears in her eyes, and I was like, okay, this is something that she likes, and so I went and finished it. Um, I didn't know if anyone else would like it, with it being called Cheyenne and being so
right.
personal to me, but it turned out it was recorded really well. My producer always does a great job, and
Yeah.
so I think it turned out to be a really cool kind of just kind of ode to her and saying thanks for helping me get back into doing music and everything. So,
Yeah, it was definitely a song from the heart, man. I felt it, and I've listened to it a few times. It's a really well written and well performed song.
well, thank
So,
you,
and I know she appreciated it. I wish I could write a song like that for my wife, man.
thank you very much. Yeah, I actually I didn't when I went to record that song, I didn't know it at the time, but the week after we got back home, um, we it was during the sort of last part of COVID,
The
and
COVID
so
craziness, yeah,
yeah, and but I ended up I didn't really my vocals weren't quite feeling the same that day, and come to find out, I actually had COVID when I sang that song.
oh
So
wow.
I'm surprised it came out as good as it did, but yeah, so I got away with one there, but
Well, that's a cool story on top of it. All right, so I've got a couple more songs I want to talk about, but I want to back up a little bit. I met Doug Worthen at a Jen Wigmore concert at Pappy and Harriet's in 2021. And I love Doug to death. I'm interested in how you connected with Doug. I think Doug's a great guitarist, and he posts these pictures of you guys on tour, and it looks fun. It looks amazing, and just want to know how it is from your perspective working with Doug a little bit.
Doug's awesome, man. He's great to work with. He's always easygoing, helpful. He's a crazy good guitar player. Um,
Yeah,
I got connected with him back when I first started to get back into doing music. I needed to put back together a band,
right,
and I took so many years off. The old band that I had was kind of playing with their other people and doing other things and stuff.
right.
So I had heard about Doug from a friend of mine that owns a bar in Utah, the Westerner. Are you familiar with the Westerner?
From him, yes.
Okay.
I think he mentioned that in the podcast.
Yeah, so we started. I think that was how we started playing together was at the Westerner, um, and then just kind of from there, just kind of kept going. Like we just played well together, and he's a really sharp, capable player, and got along and everything. So he's a good dude, man. I like Doug a lot.
Yeah, well, I wanted to shout out to Doug while I had you on the podcast because he's an amazing guy, and
Oh
he's been
yeah,
a supporter of mine for a long time. He's bought every Charles Campbell book out there, so thank you, Doug. Appreciate
that's
that.
cool. Yeah, he's that kind of dude, man. He's a good guy.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Now, I do know that you're actively touring. You've been touring for a little while. Can you tell me what that experience has been like for you? Hitting the road and playing, different spots. Tell me how that feels when you go out there. Just give me a little insight into Caleb's tour aspect.
Yeah, so we've been lucky this summer. We've been really busy, been able to go to a lot of different cities and states, and play some really cool shows for some awesome people. And it's been fun to see, like, I've always had a fun time playing music, but it seems like until the last couple of years when people started to really know my music, it wasn't. um, it's always been fun, but it's a whole different thing to see people sing some of my songs, and I see them, you know, mouthing the lyrics of my own stuff
Oh,
back to me and
nice.
everything, and it's been fun to see that, and the crowds get a little bit bigger and a little more energetic and pay attention to what you're doing more. It's not so much you're a playing in a club for people that care a little bit, but are
Yeah,
mostly there
they're
for
there for the beer.
hanging out. And yeah, exactly. But now it seems to be more turning into more of a show, which is actually pretty cool. It's so we're able to start honing in on things that I've never really focused on before, like building an entire 90-minute show, from the song choices to in between the songs to the lights to the tracks, everything that's involved in a really professional show is kind of what we're working towards now, so that we can start doing some big cool stuff next year, I hope. So
Nice.
it's
Well,
been fun, man.
I'll tell you, when I did post a couple times to my, we have an internal chat at the day job that I have, and I posted that, yeah, I'm going to have Kaleb Austin on the podcast, and you have fans all over the place because a couple ladies on the that work in the same company I do, we love him, we love him, so
Oh, cool.
they want to check you out, man. So
Awesome.
you've got a big reach, so
That's
that's
cool.
awesome. Another note I jotted down because I don't know what it is. I want you to tell me a little bit about the campfire. I want to know how to join that. That's
Yeah.
sounds like a fun deal.
Yeah, man. So that's pretty much so when we go live on TikTok. And it used to be like, we've been crazy busy touring this summer and everything. We haven't gone live as much. But when we do, our people that are on there, the ones that helped me raise the money to go get my songs recorded in Nashville and everything, they kind of coined themselves the Campfire, like the KA Campfire.
Right.
Because basically we got to talking, and it in that live stream, everybody's welcome. Doesn't matter who you are, your background, whatever. We don't talk about politics, religion, or any of that stuff. It's just about the music and about having a good time. Pretty much just like sitting around a campfire,
Nice.
and singing some good songs. And so that's kind of where that came from. So those guys on there that helped me, you know, voted me for 2021 Country TikTok Artist of the Year, and basically just went to bat for me with everything, and got this whole thing started and helped me get professional gear, and surprised me with my dream guitar. I mean, I can't speak enough good about those people. They're the ones that really changed everything for us and started this whole thing. So that's the Campfire is what they are.
Nice. That's amazing, man. Yeah, I saw the little blurb about it, and I love the way it was spelled, KA, then
Yep.
Imp Fire. That was pretty cool.
Yep.
So, but yeah, thanks for filling us in on what the
I hate to
campfire
call
is.
them a fan club because they're more than that to me. But it's kind of like that. It's all of our fans and the people that have supported us for a long time through TikTok is where
Yeah,
that.
they're real backers, and they're more like an extended family, probably.
Yep.
The people that really support you
Oh,
in
dude.
a
Yeah,
real.
they'll go to bat for you, and they're
Yeah,
always there, and it was really a family vibe that we built on there, which was pretty cool.
that is cool. Um, a couple things I wanted to touch base on. Who were some of your influences coming up? Who did you listen to growing up to inspire you and kind of steer you in the musical direction?
Yeah, I mean, there were quite a few. I mean, if you're talking like older artists and stuff, I mean, like Eddie Rabbitt,
Oh yeah,
Merle Haggard,
love a rainy night, man.
Yep. Those guys I love. Oh my goodness. Travis Tritt was a big one too. And then starting to get into some more current artists like Rascal Flatts was a big influence on me. I remember waiting for their album to drop, and
Right.
just running that morning or whatever to Walmart and listen to the whole thing, and Brad Paisley and then morphing into kind of today's music. Jason Aldean and Eric Church are kind of
Yeah.
the ones that I have enjoyed, watching their music, and then and then also Clay Walker too.
Yeah.
He's actually a good friend of ours, and I grew up listening to his stuff as well a lot, and so a lot of different kind of places where I pulled music from, and I some rock bands too, like
Oh.
Bryan Adams. I'm a
Oh
big
yeah.
fan of Bryan Adams. But yeah, man, there's been a lot of influence, I guess you could say, like coming up, but those are some of the main ones I would say.
Nice. Yeah, I was going to ask, and you kind of already segue into it. Outside of the country, genre, who else did you listen to? And you answered that really already. A couple more songs of yours I want to talk about. One that I, another one that I really enjoyed all of them, but another one that I really enjoyed was "Sound of the South." Can you talk to me about that one a little bit? That one kind of hit home too, because I'm from a small town, like I said, and if you can't hear that southern twang in my voice, then I don't
That's
know.
cool.
But
What town are you from?
I grew up in Gloverville, South Carolina, but I live in North Augusta, South Carolina, about 2 miles from Augusta, Georgia. So
Oh
a
wow,
lot of the things you sing about, I've seen. So
right on, man. That's awesome. That is awesome, dude. Yeah, that song was I wrote that just after I had moved back from Nashville.
yeah,
Um, and that song was I knew I wanted to get it recorded at some point, but I didn't really have the means to at that time or the contacts or anything like that to get it done the way that I wanted to get it done. So it kind of I sat on it for a while. But I wrote it basically about like just um, all the like a lot of the good times that my wife and I had just because we didn't have a whole lot of money when we first got together and anything. We just had a little Toyota Tacoma of hers actually that we would it had a shell on the back and we would just drive somewhere and camp out of the back of that. And so I just sort of wrote the song about the imagery of going camping out of that thing and having good times like that, just cheap good times. And then finally, when things started to get going on TikTok, about 5 years later, actually, I sat on it for about 5 years, and then I was like, well, hell, I got this song I wrote a while ago. It's pretty good. I maybe
yeah,
see if we can get it recorded and put it out and see what happens. And we did, and that was the first song that went number one on iTunes for me, and kind of spurred everything else. I was like, man,
yeah.
this could be done, and we could keep going with this and keep moving up, and so that's the song that started everything. And I think it was produced well and it was released at the right time and just a kind of a magic song for me. I still did it to this day. I love like I'll end my set pretty much every time with that song. It's like one of the last two songs with
That's what it
ACDC.
feels like too, man. It feels like a song that you have to play. There are bands that have to. That sounds like a song to me. If I went to see Caleb, I'm expecting to hear that before the show's over. So
Yeah.
yeah, that one really stuck with me.
Well, thanks, man.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
that was a
switch.
fun one to write.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna switch gears on you again. I tend to ramble on these things, but it's all right.
Oh, you're all
Um,
right.
one question that I ask all musicians that come on the podcast, and I'm going to ask you the same one: is living or dead, or not with us anymore. I won't just say dead, but have passed away. Who would you have loved to work with or collaborated with, and what current artist would you love to work with one day?
Um, and that's a big question. I think it would have been amazing. Just listening to and having more and more having a respect for Merle Haggard. I would like to have met him and done something with him, and maybe picked his ear on his songwriting process, because the dude was a great songwriter as well, and for me being a singer songwriter and everything, that would have been cool.
My dad sings his songs all the time. He's a picker. My dad
Yep,
can
yep,
play the string instruments. Yeah.
yeah, and he was one of my dad's favorites too. And matter of fact, I'm going to redo in a few weeks a cover of "Mama Tried"
Okay.
um, by him, and so I played that song for a long time, but now with the people that are producing music for me, I want to see how it turns out with these guys, and so we're going to release a fully produced version of "Mama Tried" probably sometime next year.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
So, but yeah, it would have been cool to work with him and collab on something with him and things. But maybe a current artist. Um, Man, I really like the stuff that I mean, Luke Combs has got solid stuff, and Cody Johnson. I love Cody Johnson's stuff. Um, and Eric Church, like any of those guys that are putting out just in what I would call real country music.
Right.
Um, I, I'm not bashing anybody or anything, but I'm not a huge fan of some of the stuff that's coming out right now.
Well,
Um,
brother, you're preaching to the choir on that one. I mean,
but
there's country music and there's not so country music.
yeah, some of the subgenres, I'm not a
Yeah. Yeah.
huge fan of some of that stuff, but I mean, some of those guys are out there kicking butt with it, and good for them,
Yeah.
But it's not my style per se, but so I would like to work with some of those guys that are putting out some, what I would consider to be my style of country music. Um, and even some of the more outlaw-ish style of dudes coming out right now are cool, like Tyler Childers or Zach Bryan or those.
Right.
That's a subgenre as well, but I think that's pretty a cool style of country music. That's my style. I love the '90s country, early 2000s country.
Right. I can
And
hear it. I can hear it.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I love that style of songwriting and music, and so that's what I try to include. But it would be cool to get a little bit of a change and hear a little, I don't know, maybe more some southern rock or something
Yeah.
like that, and mix it up a little bit. But so yeah,
Well,
man, I'm maybe someday I'll work with one of those guys. I don't know.
I tell you, I listen to all. I won't say all genres of music, but most genres of music, from hip hop to R&B to country to, heavy metal. And I will tell you, the craziest subgenre I've ever found, and I like bluegrass too, is a combination of bluegrass and hip hop. And if you've never heard of this band called Gangsta Grass, they are badass. You need to go check them out, man, because they have the banjos and they have the rapper and they have the singer. I mean, it's
No kidding.
blows my mind how good they are.
That's funny. I'll have
Free
to look
plug,
that.
Gangsta Grass. Yeah, yeah, they're pretty special, man, and they pull all that stuff off. I mean, I feel like I'm in the hills somewhere, and then all of a sudden this guy's rapping. I'm like, what the hell? And then you got the banjos coming back in. I'm like, this is amazing stuff, dude. Love it.
Pretty cool. Yeah, I mean,
All right.
I love all. I think every genre of music has their great qualities. I'll listen to pop. I'll listen to everything. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
but my style of what I like in country music is you know is pretty pure country. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's what I listen to, what I grew up listening to, and that's what I gravitate towards. Like I'll try. Like I'm a hip hop fan, dude, but
yeah,
for some reason my brain won't compute those words, and
yeah.
so I can't sing a hip hop song for shit, dude.
Well, I'm an old school hip hop fan. The newer stuff, not so much. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, man, I grew up on the old guys like Run DMC and Houdini and the guys that told stories. I'm always story driven. So those rappers that actually told a story, and you got a story with their song. I love that stuff, man. But now it's da 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 da, and I'm like, okay,
Uh-huh.
whatever. I don't even know what the hell you're saying. Okay, whatever.
Yeah. See, my wife is good at picking up on all that, and I'm like, I have to look at her, and I can pick up a country song, no, like,
Yeah.
whatever. But I look at her, I'm like, what did they just say? I got one word out of all that. She's like, really?
Exactly, exactly. I'm with you there,
But
man. I'm with you there 100%. Um, I want to go back to the touring just for a moment. I know your time is limited, so I want to be respectful of it. But the do you have any interesting story from a tour? Is there something crazy that maybe has happened? Some guys come on and they don't really have much in the crazy realm, but I don't know. And some people come on and they have this crazy story that's happened to them when they were on tour. So I want to know if you had something like that.
I mean, dude, not anything too crazy. I mean, um, I guess, yeah, not nothing crazy, man. Maybe
All right,
it'd be
that's
kind of
all right.
cool if I kind of did have a cool crazy story, but we haven't had too much eventful stuff. We've been super busy. We've been we were lucky enough to we opened for Josh Turner a couple of weeks ago, and he barged into our trailer, and we got to do a video with him, which was fun.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
but it wasn't, it wasn't anything too crazy. I mean, we try and keep it pretty low key if we can
Yeah, I
when
got you.
we're out and about. But yeah, man, I wish I had a better story to
Oh
tell you.
no, you're a little more seasoned now. See, that's what it is. You're a little more seasoned now. But that's cool, man. What I want to do is before we end the podcast, I want to give you an opportunity to tell everyone about where they can find you. I know you said you've already released an album, so where can they find that? I'm going to put links down in the podcast notes so everyone can find Kaleb Austin. Not that they need my links because dude's already got a million freaking TikTok followers, but hey, I'm going to help where I can.
I
But
appreciate it.
the floor is yours.
Well, thank you, man. Yeah, pretty much everywhere um, online is Kaleb Austin Music, Caleb with a K. And then YouTube and Spotify, you could probably just type in Kaleb Austin, and all my stuff would pop up. But social media wise, Kaleb Austin Music, and pretty much find me all over the place on there. So yeah, man, it's pretty simple.
Yeah, I went to CalebAustinMusic.com and he's got a merch store too, so you can pick up some merchandise. He's got some shirts, a beer opener, bottle opener.
Hey, that's what it is.
So he's got a bottle opener on there. Like you said, go to Spotify, check out his music. He does have a song that I saw that was on the website, and it was called Wild One. I listened to that. Is that the latest release you have right now?
That was one of the latest. Yeah, that was we just released one not too long ago. We need to update the website called Who I Am.
Oh, I've got that
Uh,
in my notes too. Okay.
but yeah, Wild One was right before that one, and so but yeah, those two are the latest two. We've got three more that are ready to go that we're going to be pushing out here pretty soon. One of them is pretty fun. I'm excited about. I'm trying to get the licensing for it now. As a Trisha Yearwood remake of She's in Love with the Boy.
Okay.
Um, I rewrote and re-recorded that from the young kid in that story, Tommy. I rewrote that from Tommy's perspective,
Oh, nice.
and put my own sort of spin on it. And so hopefully we'll be able to get the licensing for that one here soon and release that. But we got that one and a couple of more, and then we're going to go record two more here pretty soon and pump those out as quick as we can. So bunch of new music here coming pretty quick. So
Awesome, man. And I know you got some more tour dates lined up. This podcast is going to air on Friday, the 25th of August. So if you have any tour dates you want to talk about, I'll also put links below so people can find them. Where can we find you at? Coming soon.
cool. Yeah, so in just a couple of weeks, without having my schedule in front of me, I think we're gonna be out in Salt Lake at the Real Stadium, the soccer team stadium.
Okay.
The NFL, some guys from the NFL are putting together a mascot bowl to raise money for a charities. So we're going to be doing like a little set for them there, doing the national anthem there.
Oh,
I
nice.
think that's on September.
I'm going to put it in the notes if you can't remember it exactly. So it'll
Yeah,
be
no,
good.
let me see. I got my thing right here. I can tell you. That one will be on September 21st. Is going to be that one, and then we're going to be down in Vegas playing for NASCAR on October 14th. And so that one will be a lot of fun. We're going to be doing a campground concert the night after the big race. So anybody that is there, they can come check us out. at that one. And those are kind of the next big, couple big ones I think that people can come out to. So
Gotcha. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. All right. Well, I will be respectful of your time. I know you got a lot of stuff to do. Tell Cheyenne that I said hello, and maybe I can meet her next time we have you on the show, because we definitely want to have you back. The I know you've got one album out, and are you working on a second album? Is one coming out soon?
yeah, and thanks for having me. I really appreciate it, man. She would be on here as well, but she's making sure the kids are
Oh, I understand.
under control. But yeah, so I am working on another album. I think I'm about halfway through with it. So after this next couple that I'm going to go and do, I should have 5 or 6 done out of that one, and we should be releasing another one next year.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
it's been a dream come true because when we first started this thing about almost 3 years ago, we didn't really know how far we would take it or what would even happen or if anybody would keep on wanting new music. So
Yeah.
to be able to keep putting out new music and have people receive it the way that it's been received has been just a dream come true and a huge blessing, and it's been fun to do. So I appreciate you having me on today.
Oh, well, I appreciate you coming on. And everyone out there, I am Charles Campbell, small town horror author. You can find me at valleyboypublications.com. I have a Facebook page, Backstage 421 Facebook page. We also host Horror 421, the podcast. So for your horror nuts out there, you can go check that out. And all my links are at valleyboypublications.com. You can also find me on Instagram. And again, thank you so much, Kaleb, for being on the show this week. And we'll see you next time on Backstage 421, the Musicians Only podcast.
All right. Hey, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Backstage 421, the Musicians Only podcast. Be sure to tune in for the next episode. Please like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Listener support links can be found below. Thank you for your support.